So before content creating, what were you doing?
Before content creation, I was actually an opera singer.
Wow.
And I sang all over the world. In high school, I was at New England Conservatory Prep on the weekends. And then I was also driving down to Juilliard for a singing lesson with
You went
Cynthia.
to Juilliard?
Just like in high school, I was taking lessons with one of the teachers there. Her name was Cynthia Hoffman. She's a phenomenal teacher. And from there, I was like, okay, I really like this whole singing thing. And so I auditioned for the Boston Symphony Orchestra's choir. And I got in at 16, and I won Young Artist of the Year with the Boston Globe. And like it turned to this whole thing. I got into like all state and all national, and I was really loving singing. And I was like, I love this community. It's so open and loving, and school for me was hard because I just didn't fit in. It's like, the eccentric people usually don't. And so, if you're not
look at us.
Exactly, I know, right? It's like, look at my leg, look at our hair, like what hair? And it's like, I just didn't do well in high school with friends. And so I, was going to these things on the weekends with music, and I was fitting in. I was like, this is where I want to be. Like, there's no bullying here. It's just a really accepting environment. And so, but also making music felt so good. And so, in high school, did the Boston Symphony. I placed third in North America in a classical singing competition called the Hal Leonard Vocal Competition, which is the biggest music publishing group in the world.
Yep.
And then I got into the Eastman School of Music, where I met the love of my life, Rita Shane. She was my teacher. And you always go to a school for a teacher. Anna's the love of my life. But before Anna, I loved...
Like, that's the wrong name. No.
I know, right? So she was my teacher at Eastman. And when you're a musician, usually you go for a specific teacher. And so Rita gave me a singing lesson as a trial lesson. And I won another national competition. I won first place. And I won like $10,000 for that. And I was like, I'm going to do this. And I went in to Eastman. I went in for my first lesson. And at that point, I was weighing 245, which is what I was just weighing after my surgery. And, I was like, had a buffalo chicken sandwich, like half eaten in my pocket, put it in my pocket for the lesson, went in, sang my guts out, left, and I was filling up my water bottle. And the last thing that happened, the next student went in, she came out like 5 minutes later. This was like a huge gallon. When you're a singer, you got these like gallon-sized water bottles. I'm filling it up. She comes out like 2 minutes later. She's like, Nathan, I just wanted to say before you go, you're the best baritone I've had in a long time. And I'm so excited that I got to sing with you. And I was like half-eaten sandwich in my mouth at this point. I'm like, thank you so much, Professor, Shane. And that was the last time I saw her, because she actually passed away of cancer 3 weeks later.
Oh my gosh.
And so I went to Eastman thinking, I'm going to work with Rita Shane. She was one of the greatest opera singers in the world. She sang at the Metropolitan Opera House. She sang with Pavarotti, everybody, right? And Pavarotti, if you guys don't know, is like a 50-time Grammy Award-winning singer, right? And phenomenal singer she was. And so I was like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And I was like applying for transfer, and I applied to the Curtis Institute of Music, and I was like let's just see what's going to happen, because I have nobody that's my rock. And that's when the next year Tony Griffey came in. He's a 4-time Grammy Award-winning tenor, and he studied with Rita. And so to get to work with him doing what I love to do was so cool. I felt like Rita put him in my life, and it was amazing. And I was like, I'm going to be an opera singer. And I got into grad school on a full ride scholarship, and I didn't have to pay a penny. And I'm auditioning for the Washington National Opera and Florida Grand Opera. I got to the finals. COVID hits.
It's always COVID.
It's always COVID.
Man, you really get in there. I was like on the edge of my seat, and then COVID hits.
Yeah, and then COVID hits, and it's like, fuck, Rice University had the first case of COVID in the United States.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
And so we shut down, and then Houston shut down, and the whole nation shut down. And so I was sitting in my apartment as the world's falling apart. And I'm like, oh man, if I'm depressed, the world's got to be in total and utter shambles. And so I downloaded TikTok on March 3rd of 2020.
Everyone remembers the date.
It was a day that changed my life for the better, and I was like, man, I had a stale marshmallow in a mug, and I was like, if this goes in, I'll get a tattoo of SpongeBob. And I threw it, and it bounced on the ground, bounced into the mug. And there's my tattoo of SpongeBob right there. That was my first, like, mega viral video, I'd say. You know, I think I, like, 5 million views. I don't remember.
But that's
maybe it's
like
500,000 views.
That's like crazy back in the day.
Yeah,
you know?
compared to like 1,000 views on my normal videos, and it's like, oh, okay, how can I make this work? And then it's like, okay, like let's pivot into other content, because I was doing If This Goes In, and I was like, if this goes in, I'll learn Italian. And then like I was like, because I spoke Italian and German and French from school, which I can barely remember nowadays. It's been like 7 years, you know? But yeah, I mean, it was, and I would be like, io, I will learn, how do you say that in Italian? Io, no, sono stanco is like my go-to line in Italian. It just means I'm tired. But that was like my life mantra before social media, sono stanco. But yeah, it's been just a while, right? And then I was like, all right, spoiled milk videos. And it's like, okay, that trend's gone now. There's only so much spoiled milk in the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so then I pivoted into a Karen series with my mom, and like just, you know, just making people laugh, you know, and I was like, whoa, this is such a cool medium compared to the world of opera, which was like to make people feel more emotion than just laughter, of course, like, because it's music.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a wild ride.